Sueharu was a student at Hazuno High School. One winter morning during his first year, he ran into his classmate Shirakusa on the way to school. He greeted her, not expecting that the popular girl actually knew his name. Shirakusa told him that she was familiar with most of the faces and names in their grade. She then asked why he had called out to her, whether he was trying to mess with her by talking to her without a reason. Caught off guard, Sueharu nervously admitted that he had read her novel. Shirakusa seemed curious and asked what he thought of it. At that moment, Sueharu wondered if people could really tell when they had fallen in love. Maybe someone with more experience would know, but the truth was, he was only pretending to understand. Still, he quickly told her that her novel was amazing and had deeply moved him. Shirakusa thanked him, clearly happy to hear his praise. She felt that all of her hard work had not gone to waste. And during that first winter of high school, he realized he had already been poisoned by love. That was when he experienced his first love. Later on in class, a few of the boys were talking about how Shirakusa's photo had been published in a magazine. They went on about how attractive her body was, how beautiful her face looked, and how cool and arrogant her personality seemed. Meanwhile, Tetsuhiko asked Sueharu if he had joined the Love Shot Festival and whether anything happened during the summer break. Sueharu replied by asking what had gone on with Tetsuhiko instead. Tetsuhiko admitted that juggling 7 girls had become a hassle, and maybe it was time to settle down with just one. Sueharu was curious if Tetsuhiko got scolded after being caught dating 3 girls at the same time before spring break. It turned out that all of Tetsuhiko's girlfriends went to other schools because at their school the girls saw him as worse than trash. To prove it, Tetsuhiko waved at some of the girls nearby. Sure enough, 2 of them gave him disgusted looks and insulted him. Sueharu was kind of impressed by how mentally tough Tetsuhiko was. Sueharu asked who Tetsuhiko would confess to if he joined the Love Shot Festival. To his surprise, Tetsuhiko said he wanted to confess to Shirakusa. Sueharu instantly got nervous and said he had no feelings for Shirakusa, but Tetsuhiko did not buy it. He knew Sueharu was just pretending and teased him for it, which made Sueharu embarrassed. Annoyed, Sueharu went after Tetsuhiko, and in the middle of their scuffle, Shirakusa showed up. Shirakusa asked if they needed something from her. Sueharu, confused, asked why she was there. Shirakusa reminded him that it was her classroom too, so of course she would be there. Sueharu commented that she usually went to the cafeteria with Meiko. Shirakusa replied that Meiko had something else to do. Meanwhile, a few of the boys were gossiping again, this time about Shirakusa's size. They were joking around, trying to guess if she wore a D or E cup. Tetsuhiko, being playful, asked if they were talking about the racy photo of Shirakusa in the magazine that came out that day. Right then, Shirakusa walked over to the group and told them she absolutely hated perverts and found them disgusting. The boys instantly froze in fear. Tetsuhiko, watching everything, seemed pleased. He then told Sueharu that someone like Shirakusa was way out of his league. After all, she was smart, athletic, won an academic award in her debut year, was a nationally recognized model, had a soft and memorable way of speaking, and was even popular on TV. Tetsuhiko thought Sueharu should just give up. But Sueharu insisted that he and Shirakusa were actually pretty close. Back in the winter, he had talked with her a few times, and once they found out they lived near each other, they started chatting more often. Tetsuhiko figured that must have been when Sueharu started liking her, but Sueharu denied it right away. He explained that Shirakusa acted very differently outside of school, more cheerful and open. While Shirakusa was chatting with Meiko, a classmate suddenly complimented the notes in Shirakusa's notebook and asked if she could copy them. But unexpectedly, Shirakusa tore out the page and dropped it on the floor. She said she had just ruined her notebook and called the girl a parasite who always relied on others. Offended and angry, the classmate stormed off. Shirakusa quickly picked up the pages scattered across the floor and Meiko helped her. During break time, Sueharu saw Shirakusa writing something while tears streamed down her face, but all he could do was watch from afar without doing anything. At that moment, Sueharu was hammering some wood in class. Tetsuhiko suddenly said that if Sueharu wanted a girlfriend, he could just ask Kuroha for help. That comment surprised Sueharu, and he accidentally hit his own finger with a hammer, which left him in pain. Tetsuhiko was convinced that Kuroha would definitely help if Sueharu asked her sincerely, but Sueharu thought there was no way that would happen. Tetsuhiko realized that Kuroha had not spoken to Sueharu at all that day, and he suspected something was wrong. He told Sueharu to hurry up and apologize to her. Sueharu did not take that well. He insisted that he and Kuroha were not having any issues, and he had done nothing wrong. According to Tetsuhiko, Sueharu was lucky to be close to someone like Kuroha. If they had not grown up together, he was pretty sure Kuroha would never have gotten close to him. Sueharu knew Kuroha was cute, popular, friendly, and he really respected her. What he did not realize was that Kuroha was standing nearby and had heard everything he just said. She was surprised to hear that Sueharu thought of her that way. She told him he had a surprisingly cute side, especially seeing how flustered he looked, and that was part of why she liked him. Sueharu blushed and told her not to say stuff like that out of nowhere. He also said he did not want her thinking of herself as his big sister. Kuroha asked why not, especially since Sueharu was always relying on her even more than her own little brothers. Meanwhile, Sueharu's classmates could not stand seeing him casually talking with Kuroha. They were annoyed that someone like him had a childhood friend as cute as her. They even talked about driving him to the cave behind the school to rough him up, which made Sueharu panic. He tried to run out of the classroom, but Kuroha stopped him. She guessed that he was trying to avoid her and asked if he regretted rejecting her. The other guys surrounded him and feeling cornered, Sueharu dropped to his knees and begged for mercy. Kuroha told everyone to leave because she wanted to talk to Sueharu alone. Once they were gone, Sueharu thanked her and she repeated her question. Kuroha admitted she really did like him and asked if he wanted to date her. Sueharu said that dating her sounded like it would be fun, but he was not ready to accept her feelings just yet. He apologized and Kuroha said she forgave him, but then revealed she had lied. She said she only confessed to him because she lost a game of rock, paper, scissors. That completely caught Sueharu off guard. Kuroha apologized for not telling him sooner. She said he looked so panicked and awkward because he took it all so seriously, and that he should be grateful to have someone like her around. Sueharu was annoyed and told her she had gone too far with that kind of joke. He reached out and ruffled her hair in frustration. Kuroha got mad and said she was not going to let him copy her homework anymore. Hearing that, Sueharu quickly apologized. Not long after, Miko suddenly spoke up and said that Shirakusa was actually dating Mitsuru. She asked when and where Mitsuru had confessed his feelings. It turned out that he confessed last week at the beach. Mitsuru was the son of an actor and was currently making his own debut. According to Tetsuhiko, Mitsuru was on the same level as Shirakusa. Sueharu suddenly looked drained and said that he wanted to head home early. Tetsuhiko had already guessed that Sueharu had feelings for Shirakusa. After school, Sueharu went to sit by the river to clear his head. Not long after, Kuroha came over. She completely understood how shaken Sueharu felt. Kuroha sat behind him. Sueharu asked her to leave him alone, saying that if he talked to her about this, it would feel like he was just relying on her. But Kuroha did not mind at all. Sueharu told her that she was always so kind to him, even though he had already turned her down. Even when Kuroha insisted that she only confessed to him because she lost a game of rock, paper, scissors, Sueharu did not believe it. He knew she was pretending. In his eyes, she acted like a big sister, but deep down, she just wanted to be spoiled. Kuroha gently held Sueharu's head. Even though she thought he could be dumb sometimes, he was still someone who cared about her. She could not believe that even while dealing with heartbreak, he still managed to be so kind. That was exactly why she liked him. She admitted that she was frustrated when he did not choose her, but her feelings for him never changed. She said she would always be on his side and even told him to just cry if that would make him feel better. To Kuroha, Shirakusa was terrible at recognizing a good guy when she saw one. In her arms, Sueharu finally broke down in tears and let it all out. Shirakusa had been his first love, but now she was dating someone else. Kuroha called Shirakusa cruel. She had gotten close to Sueharu only to turn away from him the moment things started going well with the guy she liked. Kuroha said she could never forgive Shirakusa for treating Sueharu like that. Sueharu said he should just give up, but he could not stop himself from holding on to hope. Suddenly, Kuroha asked him if he wanted to get revenge. She could not forgive Shirakusa either, and in fact, she had hated her for a long time. Sueharu was shocked to hear her say that. Kuroha said there should not be any more secrets between them. She asked what he thought about the idea of revenge. Deep down, Sueharu wanted to do it, but he still felt unsure. So Kuroha told him to picture Shirakusa spending time with Mitsuru. Maybe they would go on a date this weekend. Maybe they would watch a movie, grab dinner together, go somewhere romantic, and then he would walk her home. Before parting, Mitsuru might even give her a kiss. Hearing that made Sueharu angry. He could not stand how good-looking guys always seemed to get girls without even trying. That was when he knew for sure. He needed to take revenge for the one and only first love of his life. He even swore to get back at her tenfold. Kuroha was happy. That was exactly what she'd been waiting to hear from him. She once told Sueharu that her name, Kuro, came from clover, and that the meaning behind the four-leaf clover was luck, thoughts, promises, and revenge. Sueharu and Kuroha agreed they would go through with the revenge plan. Later that night at dinner, Sueharu saw Mitsuru on a TV show. He quickly changed the channel because just seeing him made his blood boil. Sueharu was certain that he would not lose to Mitsuru, He had once held his own weapon too, and no matter what it took, he would fight back. The next day after school, Sueharu and Kuroha discussed their plan. Sueharu said they needed to find Mitsuru's weakness and expose it. Every guy had at least one or two things they wanted to keep hidden. Shirakusa would definitely get caught up in the mess too. People would say she could not tell what kind of guy she was dating and call her a clueless girl who got played by a loser. That way, both Mitsuru's and Shirakusa's reputations would fall apart. According to Kuroha, Sueharu's plan wasn't exactly bad, but it was kind of naive. In her eyes, it wasn't really a win, more like just not losing. So even if he pulled off his revenge, all that would be left was emptiness. For Kuroha, the most important thing was that Sueharu could be happy. She asked him what would actually make him happy and what came to his mind when he thought of the word happiness. Sueharu said that maybe what would make him happy was if Shirakusa confessed her feelings to him. He realized how foolish that sounded, especially after he had been so set on getting revenge. Kuroha understood how he felt and offered a different idea. They could pretend to be a couple. From her perspective, Shirakusa was only showing her best side to Sueharu, keeping him as a backup. So if that backup ended up getting a girlfriend, especially someone pretty like Kuroha, it would flip the roles. Shirakusa, who once saw Sueharu as a spare, would now feel like she was the one being left behind. Sueharu agreed with the plan and even called it the ultimate move he had been hoping for. Kuroha told him it was totally fine, even if it was just pretend she got to date the guy she actually liked, so it was a win for her. That made Sueharu nervous, and then Kuroha got closer and asked him to be real with her about how he truly felt. Sueharu admitted that even if they were just faking it, he still felt shy about dating Kuroha. To Kuroha, that meant they were both on board with the plan. She even suggested they kiss, just to make the fake relationship look more believable. She leaned in close, her face getting nearer to his, and Sueharu started freaking out. Just as Kuroha's lips were about to reach his, Sueharu suddenly pictured Shirakusa's face in his mind. That was enough for him to back off from the kiss and quickly leave the classroom, leaving Kuroha behind. Kuroha looked frustrated and called him a coward. Meanwhile, Sueharu still couldn't wrap his head around what just happened with Kuroha. He tried to shake it off because right now, what really mattered was finding out more about Mitsuru. But unfortunately, all the info he got about Mitsuru was good stuff. No wonder Shirakusa liked him. Still, that didn't mean Sueharu was giving up. Sueharu even shouted out loud that hearing all those nice stories about his rival just fired up the jealousy inside him even more. Right then, Mitsuru appeared and said he wanted to hear the stories too. Sueharu was caught off guard by Mitsuru showing up like that. Turns out, Mitsuru knew Sueharu had been asking the students around school about him, so he came to confront him. Sueharu was surprised that someone as popular as Mitsuru even knew who he was. But Mitsuru clarified that it wasn't like he knew him personally. He just remembered Sueharu as that once brilliant former child actor. Sueharu was once a child actor. He was born into a family of entertainers. His father worked as a stuntman, and his mother was an actress who never really made it big. After every acting job, Sueharu's mother would always praise him. Seeing the joy on her face made him even more motivated to keep acting and to give his best in the next scene. One day, Mitsuru approached Sueharu on the school rooftop. He had heard that Sueharu had been asking around about him, and was surprised to find out they went to the same high school. Mitsuru asked why Sueharu had disappeared from the entertainment world 6 years ago. Sueharu told him that he had no obligation to explain that. Mitsuru went on to say that he had become an actor because of Sueharu. His father once co-starred with Sueharu in the drama Taija and had always spoken highly of him. Even though Mitsuru lacked natural talent and had even given up once, he still wanted to be an actor. Then he heard from Shirakusa that Sueharu was attending the same school. After looking into it, Mitsuru found out that Sueharu had feelings for Shirakusa. He saw that as the perfect chance to use it against him and decided to start dating Shirakusa himself. So far, his plan seemed to be working. When Shirakusa found out about all of this, she was furious. She could not understand why Mitsuru was so desperate to humiliate Sueharu. Hearing that, Sueharu lost his temper and grabbed Mitsuru by the collar. Mitsuru told him to calm down, warning him not to use violence if he did not want to get expelled. Sueharu had always thought Mitsuru was as perfect as everyone said, but now he realized that Mitsuru was just someone consumed by jealousy. He could not believe Shirakusa was dating someone like him. Sueharu let go, and then Mitsuru dropped another bombshell. He was planning to publicly confess his love to Shirakusa at the school's Love Confession Festival. Their relationship had been kept quiet because of agency restrictions, but if he went public with his confession at the festival, the agency would have no choice but to acknowledge it. Sueharu grew even more upset, but Mitsuru walked off, saying he was not afraid if Shueharu tried to dig up dirt on him. Later in class, Shueharu told Tetsuhiko that he wanted to join the drama performance at the school festival. Tetsuhiko pointed out that Mitsuru was a professional, and if Shueharu wanted to win, he would need a great script. Shueharu agreed. He needed something cool, funny, and memorable, and the only person who could write something like that was Shirakusa. Tetsuhiko encouraged him to ask Shirakusa for help, but Shueharu was too nervous to do it. Out of nowhere, Kuroha showed up and asked why Shueharu had not responded to her messages. She had really wanted to hang out because it was their first day at school as a couple. The whole class was shocked to hear that and could not believe it. Goto and a few others got mad and looked ready to beat Shueharu up, but Kuroha gave them a sharp glare and they immediately backed off. Shueharu thanked Kuroha for stepping in and keeping Goto and the others away. At that moment, Shirakusa was staring at him. Tetsuhiko nudged Shueharu to go talk to her. He walked over but froze up and ended up facing away from her. Shirakusa called him rude for turning his back while someone was talking to him. Shueharu quickly dropped to his knees and apologized for everything. Shirakusa forgave him and asked what he really wanted. He explained that he wanted to do a drama for the school festival and was hoping she would write a script that could really capture people's attention. Shirakusa said that ever since she became popular, people kept asking her for favors and it was honestly exhausting. But she said she admired people who accepted a challenge and she did not mind working together with someone like that. She agreed to help Shueharu as long as he gave her something in return. At that moment, Shirakusa asked him to exchange 9 IDs. Shueharu was absolutely thrilled. While he was at home, Shueharu tried to type out a message saying he wanted to call Shirakusa to talk about the drama performance for the upcoming school festival. After finally mustering the courage, he went ahead and sent the message to her. But just as he hit send, Kuroha suddenly showed up at his house and opened the pot that had curry inside. She told him that her younger sisters had said they really wanted to try Shueharu's cooking. Shueharu asked if her little sisters were doing well since he hadn't seen them in a while. Because they were so close, Shueharu had come to see Kuroha's younger sisters as his own. All of Kuroha and her sisters' names had colors in them, so people in the neighborhood often referred to them as the beautiful Shida sisters, the colorful sisters. At that moment, Kuroha was digging around in the fridge looking for ingredients because she wanted to cook something. But Shueharu quickly stopped her. Seeing that, Kuroha teased him, reminding him that he had once said her cooking was like some kind of cosmic mystery. Shueharu even admitted he had nearly died several times from eating her food. Then Kuroha noticed that Shueharu's house was kind of a mess. Shueharu explained that he and his dad had made it that way over the summer. Kuroha asked if his dad was traveling around Japan again, and Shueharu said his dad was currently busy working as a stuntman for accident scenes. As Kuroha started tidying up the house, Shueharu thanked her sincerely. Her visit really did help him out. While organizing some books, Kuroha accidentally came across an old childhood photo of Shueharu with another kid. She asked who the kid was, and Shueharu told her it was Shirakusa, who was the daughter of the sponsor behind the drama he starred in. They used to play together because she wanted to write her own story and had asked Shueharu to act in it. Kuroha was surprised that Shueharu had a connection like that. Not long after, Shueharu's phone rang. It was Shirakusa calling. Panicking, he told Kuroha it was Tetsuhiko on the line, then quickly rushed to his room to take the call. While Shueharu and Shirakusa were discussing the concept for the project he had in mind, Kuroha suddenly shouted from the living room, asking where the vacuum cleaner was. Of course, Shirakusa heard her voice. Shueharu got flustered, but Shirakusa calmly said she already knew about his relationship with Kuroha. She even apologized for calling while he was on a date at home. Since Kuroha's voice kept coming through, Shirakusa asked if they could talk in person the next day. She had already reserved the library's equipment room, a space she often borrowed whenever she wanted to have private conversations. Hearing that, Shueharu assumed that Shirakusa probably used that room to talk one-on-one with Mitsuru too. She asked Shueharu to send her a rough outline of his idea so she could start preparing a basic plot. After the call, Shueharu returned to the living room and found Kuroha waiting. She had already guessed that the caller was Shirakusa. Kuroha was confused about why Shirakusa was suddenly getting close to Shueharu, even exchanging 9 IDs with him in public. She suspected that maybe Shirakusa had made some kind of deal with Mitsuru to set a trap. To Kuroha asking Shirakusa, a known target of their revenge, for help just screamed Mitsuru's trap. And if that was true, it made Shueharu look like a clueless clown who took the bait. Hearing that made Shueharu angry. He felt like his innocence had been stomped on by Shirakusa and Mitsuru. Kuroha knew that the only way to beat Mitsuru was through acting. She asked if Shueharu could still act. But then she added that maybe it would be better if he didn't. After all, he had been away from the acting world for a long time. She figured the backlash would be even harsher than before and asked him if he was still willing to go through with it. Sueharu thanked Kuroha for worrying about him, but he felt that if he did nothing, he'd regret it for the rest of his life. So he believed this was a great opportunity, and he decided to start practicing the next day. Kuroha told him that even if he failed, acting wasn't his only strength. She genuinely liked him. Hearing that made Sueharu blush, and Kuroha couldn't help but comment on how cute he looked when he was embarrassed. Sueharu pointed out that her face was turning red too and even held up a mirror so she could see it for herself. Kuroha was completely flustered. She told him that it was fine if she teased him, but he wasn't allowed to tease her back. Naturally, Sueharu couldn't resist and gently ran his hand along her back, then touched her chin as they looked into each other's eyes. He then asked how his acting was. Instead of answering directly, Kuroha boldly told him that if he had the guts, he could go ahead and kiss her. When Sueharu playfully asked, "Well, what if I do have the guts?" Kuroha surprised him by saying she would actually be happy if he did. They continued practicing together, getting more and more into their roles. Just as Kuroha leaned in, about to kiss him, Sueharu pulled away and stopped her. Suddenly, he got a message from Shirakusa, who said she had prepared a list of questions for him to use as reference. The next day at school, Sueharu and Tetsuhiko were rehearsing lines for the upcoming stage performance. But right in the middle of reciting his dialogue, Sueharu suddenly collapsed. Kuroha panicked and rushed over to him. He regained consciousness in the school's infirmary, with Shirakusa sitting beside him. Sueharu apologized, saying he had promised earlier to discuss the script Shirakusa had written. She handed him the script she had finished based on the outline he sent the day before. The story she wrote took full advantage of the upcoming Love Confession Festival, an event that would be seen by everyone. According to Shirakusa, if Sueharu wanted to make a bold impression, his best shot was to sabotage the festival in a way that made it look like part of the act. Sueharu thought it was a brilliant idea and thanked her. Shirakusa took her script back and told him that if he wanted to keep working together, he had to give her something in return. Sueharu immediately dropped to his knees, saying his allowance was super limited, but Shirakusa told him not to grovel like that. She knew he had once been a famous child actor, and she had always supported him. Sueharu apologized, saying that version of himself no longer existed. He was just an ordinary high school student now and didn't have anything to offer, no matter how much she might hope otherwise. He had been trying to get back on stage, but he realized how foolish it would be to stay stuck in the past. That's why he wanted to start over, even if it meant facing some embarrassment. Shirakusa asked what had made him become that way, and that was the reward she wanted from him. Sueharu then opened up about his past. The drama Child Star, which had launched his fame, ended up getting a sequel the following year. In that sequel, his mother got to play his on-screen mom, something that had been her lifelong dream. But during the filming of a scene where she was supposed to get hit by a car, a tragic accident happened. Even though the car didn't physically hit her, she collapsed from a head injury. She had been so committed to the role that the impact turned out to be fatal. At first, the drama was set to be canceled, but Sueharu insisted on continuing it. He believed that acting in that drama had been his mother's dream, and she had worked so hard for it. He was sure she wouldn't have wanted it all to go to waste. So the show went on and ended up breaking viewership records. After that, Sueharu took a long hiatus. Shirakusa, who had been listening the whole time, started crying. She had never known any of this. She gave him the script, saying she had already received the reward she asked for. Then she quietly left the infirmary. Unbeknownst to both of them, Kuroha had overheard everything. On her way home, Shirakusa remembered how, when she was a kid, she used to be clumsy with everything she did and had no confidence in herself. Because of that, her classmates used to bully her, which eventually made her stop going to school. Shirakusa had always been a huge fan of Sueharu, so her father, Tsuchiru, invited Sueharu over to their house so he could meet her. After that, Shirakusa and Sueharu got to know each other. Sueharu was super impressed by all the books in Shirakusa's room, and while they were reading together, Shirakusa suddenly told him that she wanted him to be the main character in a story she was planning to write. Sueharu was really excited about it and said he was looking forward to it. Unfortunately, a few days later, Tsuchiru told her that she couldn't see Sueharu anymore. At the time, Shirakusa thought that Sueharu must have hated her. She even called him mean because they had made a promise. That's why she decided to get stronger. She wanted to become beautiful, popular, and the kind of woman everyone dreams of. But in the end, she realized that what she was feeling was actually her first love. Even now, she still really likes Sueharu, just like before, even though she had tried so hard to hate him. To her, first love felt like a curse. Her name, Shirakusa, comes from the white four-leaf clover flower. Later that night, Sueharu and Kuroha were talking about their plan for the school festival performance. Mitsuru was going to sing and dance to the song Child Star during the Love Shot Festival. That's when Sueharu would step in, perform alongside him, and outshine him on stage. Sueharu planned to use that perfect moment to confess to Shirakusa, who happened to be Mitsuru's girlfriend. Kuroha asked whether Shirakusa would actually say yes just because Sueharu outperformed Mitsuru, but he wasn't so sure himself. Kuroha found it suspicious that Shirakusa knew about Mitsuru's plan in the first place. To her, it was clearly a setup. She was convinced that Shirakusa told Sueharu to confess to her just so she could turn him down in front of everyone, planned to bring him down at his highest point. Kuroha then asked if Sueharu really wanted to go through with it. He admitted that he did, not because he believed Shirakusa would accept his confession, but because he thought it would be fun and that it would be the perfect way to beat Mitsuru. That made Kuroha pretty upset. She pointed out that Sueharu could easily get the girl of his dreams without doing all this. When Sueharu tried to say something, Kuroha didn't want to hear it. She assumed he was about to call off their fake relationship. But instead, he told her that he'd be practicing with Tetsuhiko until the school festival, so he wanted her to hold off on coming over for now, especially since she didn't support him getting back into acting. He figured he might be a mess during rehearsals and needed Tetsuhiko's help. Kuroha understood and said she trusted him. Sueharu told her not to hold back from laughing at him. But she just called him an idiot. She believed that maybe he could act again as long as it was for someone else. Even back when they were kids, he acted for the sake of his mom. So eventually, he'd know the answer to the question, who's he really acting for? Sueharu understood what she meant and thanked her. After that, he began practicing with Tetsuhiko, and Kuroha watched him quietly from her bedroom window. It was the 37th annual cultural festival at Hosumino High School, and all the students were busy getting ready for the event. Sueharu walked up to Tetsuhiko, who asked if everything was set. They bumped fists, pumped and ready for their performance later on. While walking down the hallway, they ran into Mitsuru, who suddenly said he was worried about Sueharu. He didn't understand why Mitsuru would say something like that so out of the blue. Mitsuru warned him that he might end up crying from the shock of what was going to happen that day. Sueharu responded that he should be the one saying that to Mitsuru instead. Tetsuhiko actually thought Sueharu's whole revenge plan was kind of ridiculous. It was just an emotional outlet, nothing more. Still, he could understand where Sueharu was coming from. After all, a first love feels like a curse, and he got why Sueharu wanted to get even. So Tetsuhiko gave him a few words of encouragement to help him win. At that point, Sueharu was waiting for his turn to go on stage. Kuroha showed up in costume and asked for his opinion on her look. He told her she looked super cute, which immediately made her blush hard. Not long after, Guno suddenly barged in and attacked Sueharu. Guno's friend said his heart hurt way more now that he saw Sueharu getting closer to Kuroha. While Sueharu was glancing around the area, Tetsuhiko casually mentioned that Shirakusa's group wouldn't be performing anytime soon. Sueharu seemed surprised and insisted he wasn't looking for Shirakusa. That's when Tetsuhiko pointed out that someone was waiting to see Sueharu, gesturing toward a person standing by the door, waving at him. Sueharu had no clue who the person was, but he went over to meet them on the stairs. When he asked who it was, the person greeted him with a cheerful "Su," and just like that, Sueharu realized who it was. It was Shiru, his childhood friend. Shiru was thrilled that Sueharu still remembered her. As Sueharu tried to move closer, Shiru stopped him. To her surprise, Sueharu actually looked really happy to see her, even though she had been worried he might feel awkward running into her again. Shiru admitted she had been afraid Sueharu might have forgotten about her or even resented her since he quit acting and never came to see her again. But Sueharu reassured her that wasn't the case at all. A lot had happened since then. He apologized, especially because he had once promised he would play the lead role in the story she wrote. Shuri was touched that Sueharu still remembered that promise. It even brought tears to her eyes. Sueharu asked how she had been doing and whether she was still in school. Shuri explained that after they lost touch, she gradually started to get back on her feet. Ever since then, she had made up her mind to get stronger. She studied hard, got into sports to overcome her weaknesses, and most importantly, kept writing stories. 2 years ago, her work finally got recognized. Sueharu was genuinely happy for her. That meant Shuru had officially debuted as a novelist. Shuru said she had always wanted to catch up to Sueharu. She wanted him to see her, to acknowledge her. So she tried everything she could to become someone beautiful in his eyes. Then she stepped forward and took off her cap to show her face to Sueharu. And that was when the truth hit him. His childhood friend Shuru was actually Shirakusa. Shirakusa explained that she really was Shuru. When her dad used to call her Shiro, Sue Haru misheard it and started calling her Shiro instead. She confessed that she had missed Sue Haru terribly. She also shared that she had won the Akutami Award and now had a story worthy of him as the lead actor. She asked if she had become beautiful now, especially since she used to be mistaken for a boy. She had worked really hard and even her photo had made it into a magazine. But deep down, Shirakusa admitted she felt sad and frustrated seeing how close Sue Haru had gotten to Kuroha. Sue Haru apologized for not realizing who Shiro really was all this time, but Shirakusa felt happy just knowing that Sue Haru still remembered their promise. She asked if it was okay for her to start calling him Sue again, and also asked him to stop calling her Shiro now that he knew she was a girl all along. Shirakusa asked Sue Haru to start calling her Shiro because she always felt uneasy whenever he called Kuroha Kuro. Sue Haru agreed and then asked her why she brought it up. Shirakusa admitted that she hadn't realized how complicated things had been for him after he stopped being a child actor. She confessed that she used to blame him for everything and regretted how she acted back then. That was why she decided to tell him this now, especially since today felt like Sue Haru's comeback day. Sue Haru told her to wait for him. He planned to bring his acting skills into the story she wrote, and he was confident it would be a hit. Hearing that, Shirakusa was genuinely moved. It had been a long time since anyone had said something like that to her. As she walked down the stairs afterward, she was startled to find Kuroha waiting for her. Kuroha said she had already figured out that the kid in the photo was Shirakusa. Shirakusa responded by saying that from now on, Sue Haru would be calling her Shiro. But Kuroha wasn't impressed. She said that didn't mean anything in terms of winning or losing, and if Shirakusa thought she had already won just because of that, then her thinking was way too shallow. Sue Haru, still in shock from realizing that Shirakusa was actually his childhood friend, was suddenly approached by Kuroha, who asked him to walk around the festival with her. She casually remarked that she was Kuro, and Shirakusa was Shiro, then asked why she was being painted as the bad guy in all of this. Sue Haru jokingly asked if maybe she was jealous, but Kuroha brushed it off. She reminded him that technically they were dating, and she didn't have any interest in entertaining someone like Shirakusa, who she called a loser. When he laughed at how annoyed Kuroha looked, he asked that maybe she only acted like this in front of him to get his attention. Embarrassed, Kuroha turned away and couldn't even look at him. Sue Haru was surprised, considering she had said way more embarrassing things before. Kuroha said she just wasn't ready to be hit with something like that out of the blue. He apologized and promised not to say anything else that would make her panic like that again.